future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Hey, everybody, it is Wednesday, May the 13th. I'm Emerson Collins.
And I'm Del Shores.
And you're listening to
the Del and Emerson Show. Straight talk.
Okay.
Did that hurt?
I'm overcompensating a little. I'm a little under the weather. My allergies are bothering me, and so I just am a little gross. So I apologize already to those of you watching on the webcast at home. But we're going to have a show anyway.
And you can't do a radio show with one of those things that people...
One of those SARS masks.
Yeah.
No, it's just allergies, so nobody can get it. It just makes... It's that kind of ill where you're like, I can't not do what I'm supposed to do. You just feel like crap. You know, I'm not sick enough to be like, I'm just laying in bed and watching Netflix.
It's been like 3 days, though, you've had this. A lot of people have this in L.A.
This is the embarrassing part. I went to the doctor yesterday because I usually know where this is going, and I was like, I'm going to nip it in the bud, and I paid him $79 for him to say, well, drink fluids and rest.
Oh, I hate that.
I was like, sir, I would like pills, please.
No pills.
How you doing?
It's a pill-less show.
That doesn't fit our brand.
Exactly. I'm doing well. I'm just having a good time. We're crazy right now getting the funds.
Right now?
Well, yes, we're always crazy, but we are working so hard at getting the rest of the capital together for our budget for a very sorted wedding, and that's going really well.
Yes, it is. We have just had a torrent of new investors coming in, and we're super excited. We are trying to shoot this movie in August.
Yeah, we're
Y'all,
going to do
that's
it.
basically tomorrow.
We are going to do it. We're
So-
trying. Trying is not a good word. We are doing it.
Okay,
we are
Yoda.
It's that. I'm just gonna, all the stuff I make fun of, like The Secret and all those people.
Nonsense.
Now I'm just gonna embrace it all. Just yes.
Good, you can, so I don't have to.
I may have to start a prayer chain.
I mean, I feel like you should do that on Facebook anyway, just
That's
because.
just a 24-hour prayer chain.
Yes. What when they say, what was the thing in the mail when you got letters in the mail? Chain mail?
Chain mail.
A prayer mail chain.
Well, did y'all
chain
ever
mail?
do that? When we were in our church, that when something was really bad, something really horrible was happening, like someone's surgery, they had this prayer 24 hours, so you literally would pray for 30 and call the next person so that there was this constant prayer going on.
Oh, that seems like
It's a lot of effort.
That's a lot of work.
I would never sign up.
No, I'm just no.
I'm just not that kind.
I don't know. I'm exhausted. That's just exhausting just thinking about it.
So what do we have in equality this week, Emerson
so there are
Collins?
things.
We have a quality update.
Yes, so in our equality update. You can tell I'm not feeling amazing because that sounded so loud in my head that I felt like the live action news was actually parading through my brain.
It's not
Be like, it's not that equal.
big of a news.
We are not that equal.
Save that for the Supreme Court ruling.
Oh, all right. Starting off our equality update. I think it's important to make sure that we are paying attention to what's happening to our LGBT brothers and sisters around the world. In Havana, in Cuba, over the weekend, thousands marched in a symbolic marriage ceremony organized by President Raul Castro's daughter, Mariela. She's been a huge advocate of the LGBT community. They called, and it was the 8th National Day Against Homophobia. She said, we must ensure that Cuban society as a whole is sensitive to these issues, is educated, and understands, which I think is really amazing. As we're talking about opening up Cuba with relations politically, that it's sort of hugely impressive and I think iconic for them that the daughter of the new president is a huge advocate for our community there.
Absolutely.
I think that's really amazing.
I like this story.
And we don't have it in the stories. We'll have it next week. But, y'all, there's a lot of nonsense going on in Texas. Those 20 anti-LGBT bills, they are voting on them yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We'll do a big wrap-up on them next week. But I posted this on my Facebook, and this isn't in our list, but, I'm moody and in allergy and whatever, and so I'm just talking nonsense. All of these bills, if you are someone who lives in a conservative state where the legislation is not going in our favor, you can still make a ton of noise by calling your representatives, even if they are not from the party that represents your opinions. Make noise in this situation. Being from Texas, I would hate to see Texas next week turn into what happened in Indiana, and it definitely could head that direction.
It sure can, and I always say, scream loudly.
Yes.
We cannot stay quiet, and we see that it's just continuing to happen where these horrible bills are coming up because of this march towards equality, and that's a big theme in our movie.
Yes.
We
And it is so much easier to stop the legislation in advance than to have to sue and work through the court system to get it to a judge to overturn it. So if you are in Texas, this is just a call from us as two Texas boys. Pay attention to what's happening and stand up and speak loudly.
And we will have that wrap up next week.
Yeah, and so we'll go through all of the nonsense that happened this week. Next week's show.
All right, some light news.
All
We
right,
got
let's
some
flash through the
TV
gay
stuff
news.
happening.
As you all know, I have a TV watching problem. I don't go to meetings. I probably should. But my two favorite times of the entire year are this week, the upfronts, where all of the networks announce all of their new shows, and all of them have happened. CBS is happening today, and I haven't seen it, but they put out the trailers for all the new television shows, and so we're going to do a quick rundown of some
and
of
all
the
the
new exciting
cancellations
things.
as well. Lots of cancellations.
Did any of your shows get canceled?
I don't think so.
None of my big ones did.
None of them did. I know a lot of people were upset over what's the Vengeance show? I never watched. Revenge.
Oh, it had lost its damn mind.
A lot of people loved that
And
show,
I loved
though.
it,
Yeah,
but it lost
early
its
on.
damn
People loved it.
mind.
I gave it a shot, but it wasn't my. It just interfered with my hoarders addiction. So
Well, we all have to make choices. These are important choices in life.
that hoarders marathon got in the way of me viewing legit television.
And of course, Orange is the New Black comes back next month.
That's what I'm most excited about. I screamed when I saw the trailer. I'm so excited about this show.
I feel like it's appropriate that it's coming back in Pride Month.
Yes, it's like
Someone thought that through.
be proud in prison.
Yes, prison pride.
They should have prison pride. I bet they do.
I feel like you have to be proud if you're in prison.
So that's kind of my favorite show these days. So I'm very excited about season 3.
Well, some highlights related to the LGBT community of the new shows that have been announced. ABC, from the ABC slate of new material, Dr. Ken Jeong is the guy from The Hangover and a bunch of those movies. Hilarious Asian actor. Yes?
Yes.
He plays a doctor, and our good friend Jonathan Slavin is a regular on that series.
Your co-star, you've kissed Jonathan.
I have. We have made out.
Yeah, in Boomerang Effect.
I know. I want him to get way more super famous so that I can sell stories to the Inquirer or something.
He is truly one of the most gifted comic actors that I know.
Yes. Oh, we'll have him on the show. We've never had him on the show.
Let's have him on.
We'll do that. Well, when they get close.
Now that he's gotten more famous.
Well, now that he's on a TV show and it matters. I don't think he's listening, so we can say that. But that's exciting. The Muppets is coming back to prime time.
I know it, and I've worked with those guys. I wonder if it's the same. I wonder if the Hensons are involved this time. Are they? Do you know?
Don't they have to be?
Well,
I don't feel like you can get to the rights to it.
No, well, they sold it to Disney, so they didn't own the Muppets for a long time. I worked with them, and they still were developing new shows. We did a pilot for Logo, sort of a bull and what was the other? A pig that were domestic partners that were, anyway.
Well, so people are super excited about that. And also, I watched the trailer for this. It does not look good. Of Kings and Prophets is basically like King Saul and David and Goliath, the story. But it looked kind of cheap and I don't know.
They need to throw Jonathan in there for
I feel like they've got
stuff.
I mean, they got to get to that real quick.
Not Jonathan Slavin. Jonathan from the Bible.
From the Bible, that homoerotic storyline to get some viewers. So we'll
Yeah.
see. And then the thing I'm most excited about ABC, The Real O'Neills, is the Dan Savage story. It's based on his story of growing up and coming out in a conservative family with Martha Plimpton as the mom. And I watched the trailer, and the kid that's playing the Dan Savage role was hilarious in the pilot.
Well, I got an email from the American Family Association. They are so upset over this show.
I hope they stay upset because it'll get good ratings.
Yeah, they are putting out a bigotry alert for this show. Ban Disney, ban everybody.
And then over at Fox, now these aren't actually gay, but they have a real gay aesthetic, and you'll see why real quickly. Grandfathered stars John Stamos as a man who discovers he has an adult son and a grandbaby. And then The Grinder stars Rob Lowe and Fred Savage as one who's a TV lawyer and one who's an actual lawyer. Now, let's just be honest. John Stamos and Rob Lowe are two of the hottest men in the history of television.
That's true.
So that gives it a gay sensibility.
And John Stamos they're doing a Fuller House. So he's got
going to be
two
real
series.
busy. Real busy. Now, I'm just annoyed that they didn't figure out how to put the two of them in one show.
Well, I do love Fred Savage though, and
Yes.
he's been directing
Yeah.
forever, so it's kind of fun that he's coming back to acting.
Yes.
You know, if y'all don't know, he was the kid star on The Wonder Years, and I love that show.
And since we love religion, Lucifer is a new Fox show about the devil just quits and moves to L.A.
I just thought that was the greatest premise when I read this. I thought that is hysterical.
Now, Fox is real
I'm
cancel happy. They cancel their shows faster than anybody else, so we'll see what lasts.
Well, I am surprised I did not get an alert from the American Family Association on Lucifer. So I'm sure we will very soon.
And then NBC, Neil Patrick Harris has a new live show called The Best Time Ever.
And it's like a variety show,
yeah,
right?
yes, and it's sort of not completely clear yet what all directions it's going to go, but I love that. I'm excited that live television's coming back. I think he's so gifted at that. That should be really exciting, and I hope people tune in.
I was trying to think when the last...
Rosie tried for a minute with those specials.
It didn't work. It's been a long time. Donnie and Marie? I mean, what
That's
was
been
the
a
last
minute.
time that we had
It
a
has
good
been
variety
a
show?
minute. Well, so along with
All
new shows,
right,
cancellation
yes,
news.
Yes, and American Idol it's one last season, and I know you and I have been kind of obsessed with Idol for a long time. I gave up only one season, and I've returned to it this season. The finale is tonight. But we decided that because it has one last season, this season, tonight's, and then one more, that we decided, Emerson and I are going to do our top 10 list of all our favorite idols.
Yeah,
of all time.
and disclaimer, I gave up after Candace Glover. I watched all the way through season 10. I think that was Lee DeWise, and then those next two seasons I was kind of spotty, and I didn't watch the last two at all.
I think Lee DeWise did I think a lot of people said that's it. I'm not watching anymore after Lee DeWise, and you know, and I don't think that Taylor Hicks did anybody any favors.
Well,
either.
he was early enough on that didn't do any damage. But it was when we had like the 5 guy boring singer-songwriter types in a row. Here's my sermon on American Idol. They made a mistake those years, like that Chris Allen year, where they stopped making the song ultimately just exclusively about a singer. When we switch to singer-songwritery, do you play the instruments and do you write all the music yourself? A talent show competition is just about the quality of the voice. Bring me big voices who can sing big notes and do crazy crap.
But that season that Chris won, Adam Lambert came in second, and
right.
that was a great. I mean, for me, that was a really good season.
Yes, but that was the beginning. He was the beginning of that. Here's the guy playing a guitar. Here's the guy playing a guitar.
You know what he's doing now? He's the praise leader at the Little Rock Baptist Church.
Well, good for him.
So he did, American Idol
Nikki
win
McKibben is still hosting karaoke in Fort Worth.
And her son tried to be on it. Okay, so here's my top 10.
Okay, go.
Do we just go? You just want to do my top 10 and
yes,
then your
do
top?
yours.
Okay, number 10.
And then we'll argue.
Number 10, LaToya London. Number 9, this is a crazy one, Crystal Bowersock. She came in second the Lee DeWise year, and she reminded me so much of Janis Joplin style. Number 8, Mr. Clay Aiken. I did love him, and I kind of like his evolution. Number 7, Kelly Pickler. I love her, and I would like to tie her with my friend William Blake, who never made the top 12, but he's your friend too, and he's performed with me on cruises, and he was in one of those seasons where he was in Hollywood, and I don't know what happened because he is brilliant.
I do. I know what happened. The problem is his voice is crazy good, but American Idol is 80% about your B-roll. Do you have a kid? Do you have, Alzheimer's? Did your, parent die? If you don't have a good B-roll.
If I'd have known him, we'd have come up with something.
Right? William, we should have made you up a story.
He could have been a teen drunk and had turned his life around.
Yes.
But of course he's still drinking, so I don't know. William, I know you. I don't know that would have worked. Anyway, so number 6, I love Scotty McCleary, who won a couple of years ago. No, I think that of all, he has some staying power.
It's your list.
Adam Lambert, number 5. Number 4, Fantasia. She would have gone higher, except she's kind of spiraled. Carrie Underwood, number 3. This was hard for me because I love Jennifer Hudson more than life, and I had to put her number 2 because I have to say the original winner, Kelly Clarkson, is still for me number 1. I mean, just Stronger got me through my divorce. So I
Well, I'm gonna do my list the other direction because that just makes more sense to me that way. I agree. There would be.
Are you saying I was wrong? Is that what you're saying?
Variety, difference.
Okay.
I think that everyone that has ever made any money off that show owes all of it to Kelly Clarkson, because if she had not had staying power, if she had not proved to be a legitimate artist, this show would have died 3 summers in. So everyone everywhere owes her, and I would give my left nut for her to show up at the finale of next year and sing a moment like this.
Maybe she will.
She's refused. She hasn't sung it since that very first Idol tour anywhere publicly.
Well, I saw her in concert where she sped it up and sang it kind of like
like I'm gonna get through it.
Right.
So she is my number 1 of all time. My number 2 is Carrie Underwood for me personally. Just my heart belongs to country music. Jennifer Hudson lands at number 3 for me. Absolutely. I mean, for Dreamgirls alone, bless her heart, she can't act her way out of a paper bag since then.
No, that was just one of those tailor-made roles for her, and I do love the new video.
Well, the thing for me with her is that she can act a song like nobody's business. She just has trouble with words with no music. That's okay.
Yeah.
We can't all be good at everything. My number 4 is Fantasia, even though for the last 5 years she's finished every song with yeah. Girl, you got to sing some of the lyrics of the song.
And kind of doing
some
that,
of
I'm about to shit look.
Adam Lambert for me at number 5 as the best male voice on the show.
Look at us, 4 and 5 the same.
Number 6, Clay Aiken came in hard at number 6 for me, though, because I think for legitimate adult contemporary male voice that no other boy in that competition can compare to what he could do. My number 7 is Catherine McPhee for Smash.
I had her in there for a second.
Because that Let Me Be Your Star song from Smash is my jam. And yes, she had the personality of a wall-painted beige on the show, but you put her with David Foster playing any song from the Great American Songbook, and that voice is crazy.
She went to Notre Dame High School, where my kids went to school, so we had to
And part of the problem is she suffered from that. Like, she hasn't struggled, so like it wasn't super interesting, but when it was time to sing, she could sing her face
I know,
off.
they had to pull out an eating disorder at the last minute for her.
I don't even remember that. But Taylor Hicks was too busy, like, whatever that, like, yeehawing across the stage that season. And then my number 8, Jordan Sparks, that Battlefield song, I Who Have Nothing. I love her.
I love her too.
So much. My number 9 is Chris Daughtry.
I didn't put him on.
I just think that what he did and where he went in rock, in more rock music, he was the best of that version. I think David Cook is second to him in that category.
Yeah, he deserved to be on my list. I should have.
And
had
then
him.
my number 10 is a trio that I wish they could do Dreamgirls somewhere with Candace Glover, LaToya Lunda, and Melinda Doolittle.
Oh, I love Melinda Doolittle. I was today when I was
little
reading
no-neck Melinda.
Yeah, she played the Copa recently in Palm Springs. I thought, me and Melinda.
I'll tell you, my pet peeve with Melinda was always she introduced that thing to culture that Taylor Swift has been doing for the last 70 years, it feels like. That all shucks when people give you a compliment. Girl, Melinda Doolittle sang back up for real people before American Idol. You know you are good. That, I'm so surprised at a compliment thing that like everybody on every season after that imitated. I still hold Melinda responsible for introducing that to our culture.
What did you remember? Was that around the same time as that sort of homophobe, that Mandisa?
You know, a girl I went to college with sings backup for her. They do Women in Faith conferences.
Well, amen. Praise Jesus. All right. Well, let's move on.
And I'm not super worried that anybody from this season or next season is going to crack my top 10. I got to be honest.
I like Jax. We'll see.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, we've got a story. Speaking of Christians, LGBT Christians in a new Pew Research.
No, just LGB.
Oh, LGB, they didn't put. What happened?
I don't know. The report wasn't studying trans people.
LGB Christians. You're right. In a new Pew Research Center report, 48% of LGB Americans identify as Christian, up from 42% in 2013. The statistic contrasts the study's finding of overall decline in Christianity from 78.4%. That's a lot of Americans identifying Christians. Now they're down to 70.6%. So they attributed this to society accepting the LGBs. So yes. And and reform in the churches. So this is a good thing.
Well, and I think it's really interesting because we talk a lot about the conflict between religion and sexuality, but this really says, almost half of lesbian, gay, and bisexual people still identify as Christian, and that speaks really strongly to, I think, the denominations that are really allowing reconciliation, and I also think it's a sincere challenge to many conservative Christians to be aware of how many people in their own community they're hurting with the rhetoric that we continue to talk about. So I think the advancement of many denominations to be open and accepting is because that's a huge jump when you think about it.
Huge.
6% in 2 years I think what you probably have is that those 6% of people that are back on the list identified with it growing up, and now they have found a new church home that they feel accepted in.
They were angry at religion,
Yeah.
I think. I'm still, I'm not going to be in that group.
That's
ever,
all right.
Ever.
That's
but that's
okay.
okay, too. Interesting with it's 8% down overall. So, but we will see that there are those who are not, they're not accepting us. We have a bunch of stories coming up about some hate.
Obviously. It's what we do. All right, well, in Michigan, so remember that billboard story about that billboard that they used turns out that guy was a homo? Well, billboards are back in the news.
They said he was a twin, and he was
new
one person.
website called RestrainTheJudges.com has put up a series of billboards in Michigan that show either a black, white, Latino, or Asian person, and underneath them it says born black, or born white, or born Latino, or born Asian, and then beside them is a dude with his face painted with a rainbow, and it says not born this way. And then the text says homosexuality is a behavior, not a civil right. First of all, Lady Gaga taught us that we are born this way.
And it is sponsored by, this is my favorite, RestrainTheJudges.com. Now, that could go into that sounds like a porno
S&M.
to me. It sounds like a porno that a courthouse got out of control.
Say, Samuel Alito starring in a porn. Well, but you can go to the website and they can fleece you for money, because at RestrainTheJudges.com, for $9.95, they will send 11 letters to the 9 Supreme Court Justices, John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, asking them to restrain the Supreme Court. For $29.95, they will send it to all congressional Republicans and the justices. And for $49.95, they will send 544 letters to everyone in the entire Congress and the 9 Supreme Court justices on your behalf.
So it's for the lazy and the illiterate, basically.
I know. I'm like, first of all, I don't feel like they're sending anybody any letters. They're just taking your money.
Oh, God.
Bless their bigoted hearts.
And moving on. More church in the news.
I kind of love this story. The First Conservative Baptist Church in Jacksonville, Florida, put up a sign that read, "Homosexuals must repent or go to hell." Well, Kate Dobbins is a member of that community, and she started a petition to have the sign taken down. She got nearly 200 signatures from the local community in 2 days to have them take it down. She reached out to the church and left a message with the pastor, but he had not returned her calls. So she showed up on Sunday morning with news cameras to present the petition and had a confrontation with churchgoers, saying, "Nowhere in the Bible does it mention gays and hell in the same sentence. There is no place in Jacksonville for such an ignorant and hatred-filled sign." One churchgoer said, "You obviously do not know your scripture, so you need to leave. This is private property." I'm sorry.
So sweet.
When you have to resort to the "this is private property" argument, you've already lost the battle.
I'd like to do that. This is my audition for that role. You obviously do not know your scripture, so you need to leave. This is private property.
That's like redneck Leslie Jordan. Bless
All right,
their
moving
bigoted
on.
hearts.
All right. Adele went in full drag as George Michael for her 27th birthday. And do you have that picture, John? It's kind of fantastic.
She looks exquisite.
It's beautiful. And she tweeted, "Thank you for the birthday wishes. I had a wonderful time. I was my hero." And she goes, "Gotta have faith." Hashtag gotta have faith. And George Michael tweeted back, "Happy birthday, Adele. I'm so flattered. Love the singing Greek."
I just love that. It's like the
Yeah.
Mutual Admiration Society.
I think it's
I just
sweet.
love that her thought was, "It's my birthday. I'm going to do drag. I'm going to be a drag king."
So, okay, and now I'm trying to catch us up like you do
Oh, you're
so
fine.
often. So, all right, am I okay? Are we
Yeah,
okay?
I mean,
we
there's
started
some
talking about...
There's some nonsense down the list.
We start talking about Idol. We could go on for a while. But Mr. Cynical over here said the other day that he did not believe that TallyWhackers was a real place in Dallas. I had one of our fans, Eric Vasquez, contacted me. He is with the Impulse Group. We did a segment on them a few weeks ago, but he's with the Dallas segment of the Impulse Group, and they're trying to do a benefit. He assured me that they are real. And now they have posted photos and but in jeans and t-shirts.
This is my problem. I'm like, how are you advertising a restaurant called TallyWhackers and your all-male staff is wearing baggy jeans and t-shirts?
No. We need some skin, TallyWhackers.
Be like, I feel like that they need to be waiting tables in very bulge-focused underwears.
Yeah, and I will come in and shoot your commercials if you will have the TallyWhackers
on display.
Yes.
But now this was my favorite part, because I was like, okay, you're right, it's real. I just was still convinced that a Craigslist advertisement for waiters.
We're
Wouldn't
going,
we?
you know. You
Of
do know
course
that
we
we're
are.
going. When
Yes.
we're shooting the movie, we are going.
We'll just do a live show from TallyWhackers. But the menu features lots of options, very Americana, and lots of a wide range from nice, cheap appetizers to high-end steaks. But obviously, I would think the most popular thing on the menu must be the hot dogs. They have a whole hot dog section. The TallyWhacker is described as 1 pound all beef frank on a fresh dog bun with mustard, onion, and relish, topped with 2 scoops of slaw, 2 pickle spears, and fresh tomato wedges. A 1 pound hot dog.
It's a lot of slaw.
That's a lot of meat.
It's a lot of slaw, too.
That's a lot of meat. There's also an S&M burger, which I
like
found
that.
entertaining,
Yeah.
and a famous flamer with assorted peppers and spices. Now, this is the one that makes me uncomfortable.
Would you be embarrassed to order that? I'd like the famous flavor.
No, that's the way I'd say, can I get the famous flamer? Now, this is the one that makes me uncomfortable, however. There is a TallyWhacker sundae. Fine. Our version of the banana split. Oh. Sure to make you smile. I'm sorry, if you can cut a banana down the middle and serve it to me with the title TallyWhacker, I'm going to have a mental picture that is not real comfortable.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel a little awkward?
It does feel slightly
like,
awkward.
you need to serve that banana whole.
Yeah,
Like, don't slice
well,
it.
maybe that's what it maybe that's their version. That
The
it's
version of the
whole.
banana split
It's
is just not split?
It's not split.
Well, maybe, you know what they should do? They should call it cut and uncut. Do you want your banana
Would you
split
like your banana split
cut or uncut?
John?
Thanks, you guys. I'll be here all day.
Ta-dum-bum.
Right there, right on
Right.
the spot. I just came up with that on the spot.
Yeah, we don't rehearse.
We don't.
Can you tell?
Y'all, barely at all. All right, flashing on. In pop culture nonsense gay celebrity news, Andy Cohen was asked on Watch What Happens Live who was the most famous person he'd had sex with, and he said Lance Bass. Now, this made it big hot news around the intrawebs, and on his Sirius XM show, Dirty Pop Live, Lance said, first of all, I'm not going to tell you what I do in the bedroom. Sex is a broad term, like Andy banged Lance. When did he ever say that? He also had mentioned, this is an old story, 3 years ago, Lance had told everybody that they hooked up once. And now who's getting into who? I can tell you right now, there was no Andy D in my B.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what went down, but it's not what people are thinking. I just found that hilarious. I love that because Anderson Cooper told us all that Andy Cohen's a big old top.
Right.
So a lot of people jumped to the conclusion.
But you know, who knows what Lance Bass could convince him to do?
That's true.
And Lance's husband supported.
Yes.
He said he tweeted at Andy, "I don't mind, so no one else should."
Yeah, Michael Turchin is fantastic, and he's often on Lance's show, and he's a great artist. He was like, everybody loves a good
Whatever.
Jewish
I got him
boy.
now.
Exactly. I just thought it was funny, and everybody was making a big.
Who's
old
the most famous
deal.
person you've slept with?
I do
Emerson?
not kiss and tell. I don't.
Well, I will. Okay.
Look, we have different approaches to like how much of our lives we're willing to share, and that
Well,
one part of my life stays
I don't
off
either.
the.
I
off
don't
of,
either. I don't go around telling people.
No, but I
mean,
just mean like my entire like dating and sex.
Right.
I will talk about sex theoretically, but I'm not talking to you about talking with random people I don't know about the
you
specifics
don't really.
of the kind
I mean,
of sex
you
I
don't
have.
even like. We're good friends, and we don't even have that.
It's just for me in our clearly I will tell you what I think about anything. It's just I kind of made the decision early on in this process that was the one area I was just going to keep for me. That it's not a part of my.
Yeah, I have a friend who literally does that. Oh, I slept with so and so, and it's famous people, and I just think it's kind of classless.
Yeah.
First
of all, the list is not long. So, all right, flashing on. The UK elections happened last week, and it's not something I am super aware of beyond that the Conservative Party continues to win, and so David Cameron will be staying on as UK Prime Minister. But I found this aspect of it disturbing. He selected John Whittingdale as the new Culture Secretary. However, John Whittingdale has voted strongly against gay rights, with him being one of the few to vote against same-sex marriage in England and Wales. He voted against lowering the age of consent for gay people to make it equal back in '98, and was against including sexual orientation in the Equality Act. So it just is very disturbing that you would put someone in the position of culture secretary that is not for equality of all of the people within your culture. So for those of you in the UK, that sucks.
scream loudly.
That's right.
Yeah,
Scream!
Say no. Don't like it.
We don't like it. Flash known.
All right, we have a gay son of Indian cricket boss says he's being held hostage. I read this story and was like really
disturbed.
Yeah, the gay son of I can't pronounce this name.
Cricket boss.
Srinivasan, a powerful industrialist who now heads the International Cricket Council, says he and his partner are being held prisoner by his dad, who wants him to marry a woman. He said, "I want my father to give me my share of the family property and let me live my life like I want with my partner." Avi, Ashwin Srinivasan told DNA, "We're being held captive against our will and tortured by my father, who wants to break me up with Avi, get married, and to have children to further the family line." And then they published, DNA published a letter from the father. He said, "I have saved money through my own hard work. That is to say, my wealth is self-earned. I would like it to go to my flesh and blood. I want a lineage to carry on the business. I cannot give it to strangers," meaning his son's partner. Therefore, I think it will be a good idea for you to marry a girl acceptable to us, which probably might enable creation of a lineage. You need to re-enter normal society, which you left years ago. And he said, "Until you change, I'm going to induct Rupa," that's his sister, his twin sister, on the India Cements board. And you can also join the board after you accomplish the changes I have suggested. So basically saying, why doesn't he walk away, though?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
He says, "I want the money." He said, "I want the money." That's my problem with this story.
I agree.
I didn't want to, it is, if he's really truly being held captive, that's horrible. Why is he being held captive, though? There's holes in this story with his lover. Why wouldn't they oust the lover, hold him captive? It makes no sense to me.
I think they're using hostage metaphorically in this situation. It is. It sounds like what I want is to have my cake and eat it too.
I want my father to give me my share of the family property. Go on and make your own life. And, you and I certainly, not that we...
I never have any patience for people fighting over legacy money or inherited money. I'm
Me
sorry.
neither.
Like, you didn't work for that, so whatever you get is a bonus, but people whining about, like, I need to be supported in this way, and I don't have any patience for that.
So he lost my sympathy. I'm sorry.
I think it sucks that his family is not supportive of who he is.
But there are a lot of us who had non-supportive families. There are a lot of people out that are listening right now, and you go, okay, well, what means more to me? My partner, and I want my life to be happy? I don't need this money. Otherwise,
Go get a job.
Yeah, go figure out. It sounds like his dad was self-made. Go do what your dad did. Make your own wealth. That's what I say. That's what I say, John. Okay.
Amen. Can I get an amen?
All right.
All right,
Moving
fashion
on.
I hope that.
I love this story.
I hope that many of you saw this. Two gay Italian acrobats got engaged on television on Italy's Got Talent. These two boys, and I love it because they were just in the like silvery, glitteriest harnesses with their
gayest outfits.
Their nipples outfit. And we got to watch as one proposed to the other, and I thought, well, you should wear those outfits for the wedding. Like, we practically had the set there.
It was a very, very gay set. What I loved about this story, first of all, Google it, because you will find the link, and it will, if you're human, you will tear up. It's so touching, and they're so in love. And what I loved is the judges rose to their feet, and everybody in that, it was thunderous applause.
Well, and I thought it was great to see these guys dressed in these like ridiculously hot S&M-y super gay outfits. But after we've done all these stories about Dolce & Gabbana and Armani, and we've talked a lot about the challenges in Italian culture to marriage equality between the machismo and the influence of the Catholic Church. So this was a big old statement.
It was, and
I love that.
They were so supported. So, all right, and then moving on in more international news, Vienna changes traffic signs. The traffic signs in the center of Vienna have been programmed now to show male and female gay couples as the Austrian capital gears up for the Eurovision Song Contest. So dozens of lights have been specially programmed ahead of this year's grand finale, which takes place in the city on the 23rd of May. And they show combinations of gay couples and hearts, and they're kind of sweet and wonderful.
I love it. I wish we could have them here. My only concern is, like, I want to go to Vienna. First of all, it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and I have been twice, and I loved it. But also, like, I feel like I would be one of those people that I hate, that I'd be standing in the middle of the street trying to get an Instagram picture with, like, the cute little, like, gay couples walking, and suddenly it would turn red, and I'd be like, oh, but now I need the red couple, but I have to stand in the street. Can somebody stop traffic?
We need to do this in WeHo, in West Hollywood.
I know, we got the gay rainbow in the street. We ought to turn our little people into, like, cute little homo couples.
I think so. I think that's a good...
Well, I love it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. They're on the intrawebs, and it's really cute.
You got them. We've got the picture there.
But in Vienna.
All right, and now moving on to Russia.
Yes, I love this story. I'm a big fan of people that find interesting ways to combat hate and to advocate on behalf of LGBT people. An LGBT activist in Russia is using social media to shame homophobes in her country. Lena Klimova launched an art project called Beautiful People and What They Say to Me. Now, in the album, she posts public photos of seemingly benign individuals juxtaposed with the violent threats that they've posted on a Russian's largest social network. I didn't try to say it. I did not succeed at that.
I thought you had something caught in your throat there for a second.
No, I was thinking I was going to get it out.
Illness. I thought it had turned into a full-blown cold.
But I couldn't. But it's really interesting because she takes it's like you see all of these people smiling and posing with pets and girlfriends and a bouquet of roses, juxtaposed with the words that they said. So, for example, there's a guy smiling with his dog, and in Russian, it shows what he said in Russian on this social network. She said, "You fucking slut. Why the fuck are you propagandizing fags? Sure, nobody wants to fuck you, but that's your problem. Just close this disgusting group." And so I find it really interesting because I found it really impactful because it's a reminder that you can't always see someone's bigotry on their face as they walk down the street, but it definitely always lives in their heart. And so I felt like this is a really interesting way to show that and remind ourselves what it is that we're fighting, even when you can't always see it.
Yeah, I was really interested when you were telling me about this story because, I got in trouble on Facebook. I was saying, where is she posting these? Because on Facebook, that would be a violation. They would not allow it. I basically, people who've written hate on my page, I've actually exposed their website and their Facebook page, and I got in trouble. So,
well, that's kind of what you do.
I do, but I no longer do that. But I feel like that these people should be exposed. If they're willing to put this hate out there, then they should be exposed.
Well, it's one of my biggest things. I would love it if all of the internet it was impossible to be anonymous, because I think that's you can say whatever you want to say, but I think you should have to have your name and your face beside anything that you have to say. Because if you're not willing to stand by your words, then you shouldn't be able to put them out there.
That's absolutely right. Okay, moving on. We've got more news. The FDA official proposes new blood donation guidelines. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but it is now this week. The Food and Drug Administration did issue a recommendation signaling the first significant change to a 33-year ban on blood donations by gay and bisexual men, but maintaining the restriction that civil rights group. Wait a second, I messed this up. But it maintains restrictions that civil rights groups say it's unacceptable. Yes, I was right. I was going down the right path with that. 1 year with no sex. That's what their rule is.
Yep,
1 year with no sex.
Still requiring a year of celibacy.
And how are they going to prove this? And why isn't this in the heterosexual community? It's ridiculous to me.
I know. Well, it makes me want to just lie and go donate.
But the complications that we have in the sophistication with the blood test, there's no reason for this. It's just ludicrous.
Well, and there's something interesting too. I didn't put this on yours because I found it later, but there's a great Instagram photo from several weeks ago of out gay U.S. ambassador to Spain posted an Instagram photo of himself donating blood in Spain because he can with Team U.S. Embassy Madrid. So here's a gay American that is our ambassador to Spain who can donate blood in Spain and wouldn't be able to here.
It's stupid. I'm sorry.
But on the flip side, at least ever so slowly and painfully, we're moving in the right direction.
33 years this has been going on.
Yep. All right, well, the Boy Scouts are back in the news. You all know that I was a Boy Scout for 10 years, and so I find these stories important personally. Brian Peffley was an Eagle Scout. He's now 34 years old and chose to return to scouting as an adult as a volunteer assistant scoutmaster in a suburban troop in Columbus, Ohio. But Boy Scouts recently notified him that it will no longer allow him to be a part of the organization tied to its policy that bars openly gay adult leaders that we've talked about. Well, now he and others like him are trying to prod the organization to move forward, and he said, "I'm not going to take this lying down. I'm not going to take this quietly. I want the whole country to see the effects of this discrimination." Scouts for Equality is a group of advocates, openly gay former Boy Scouts, that are pushing to end the ban on gay leaders, because it's ridiculous. We're going to keep seeing this, that openly gay scouts graduate at 18 and then suddenly they can't continue participating. So I hope he sues them and they finally finish this process.
I think we will. I think we'll see this change soon. Marco Rubio is in the news. He headlined for a group that supports reparative therapy. Shocker.
Oh, Marco.
Shocker.
Polo.
Okay,
Marco.
yeah.
Polo.
He headlined a closed to the media fundraiser for the Center for Arizona Policy. Now, this is the same group that helped push the state's religious freedom bill that was later vetoed by Governor Jan Brewer, the one thing that she did right. And this group supports and believes in reparative therapy. Quote, homosexuals can modify their behavior and become heterosexual through Christian ministries and counseling. No, they cannot. There is so much proof that they cannot, and we're going to continue to fight these organizations. So, Marco Rubio, fuck you.
Yeah, and I'm going to, as these things happen, I just think it's important because, we've talked a lot about what it is to be conservative LGBT people, but as stories continue to happen with the potential Republican candidates, I want to keep sharing them because it's important that you all know their stance on the issues that directly affect all of us if you choose to support the Republican Party. So, flashing home.
All right.
In Virginia, exciting news. The largest school district in Virginia voted last week to protect transgender students from discrimination.
Yes.
The Fairfax County School Board, it's the largest in the state, passed the amendment on a 10-1 vote, which is an amazing majority. The vote came as opponents to the proposals crowded into the meeting, giving standing ovations to those who spoke against it. And it was really sort of impressive because Fairfax in Virginia, first of all, Virginia, of course, is in the South and conservative, but close to D.C. And this was in opposition to two other Virginia school districts that recently banned trans students from entering single-sex facilities that correspond with their correct gender identity. So the two opposite approaches are sort of making Virginia into a battleground for how schools and school districts are handling trans rights. And it's a very exciting that the largest and therefore most influential school district is handling it correctly in support of vulnerable trans students. The policy approved added gender identity to a list of characteristics, including sexual orientation and race, that the district cannot use to discriminate against a student, employee, or job applicant. So
and that was like a big vote, 10-1.
Yeah, that was
it wasn't just
definitively.
Yeah,
so good job, Fairfax, and for pulling the rest of Virginia along with you. Flashing on.
All right. Last week we talked about this video game company that they pulled this "Kill the Faggots" video from their website, and this week more news. Keith Fay, the lead singer of a metal band called Creation, said he and his bandmates weren't aware that when Scaltic Games approached them 6 months ago to use their music in a game called The Shelter, a survival story, that one of its mini games was this anti-LGBT, and he said, I love this because heavy metal people, coming to our defense. It's just been brought to my attention, he says, that the shelter is involved in sending messages of hate towards the LGBT community. And he wrote this on his Facebook page. We have informed the company that they no longer have the rights to use our voice recordings, likeness, or any of our music. We are for free speech, but not when it comes to spreading hatred towards a demographic. He asked fans to boycott the Scaltic Games. His younger brother, he said, is my best friend, and he is gay. My girlfriend Rachel has been campaigning for a yes vote in the Irish same-sex marriage referendum. So what a touching story.
I know.
I kind of got choked up
Look
reading it.
at you, feelings. I just like it because I'll be honest, my stereotype perspective of fans of heavy metal music, I wouldn't necessarily have just naturally assumed that it would be so open. And so for this huge metal band leader to come out, I think that's awesome. And a reminder to me to not judge people based on stereotypical characteristics as well. I am just as guilty as some of them bigots sometimes.
We all are.
Flashing on, I'm gonna skip that next one. But this is nonsense and silly and fun. I don't understand yoga. I don't understand hot yoga. But there's a new thing. Well, it's not that new, but it's hit the news again, called Broga. A Massachusetts fitness instructor has invented a type of yoga that he says is tailored for guys who are turned off by the practice. Robert Sidoti, who created Broga in 2011, you have to say it that way, I think, Broga, says it's the next big thing in exercise. He realized his circle of guy friends didn't feel the same affinity for yoga, so he wanted to create a routine for real guys. Thus, Broga was born. The practice blends traditional vinyasa yoga with functional fitness and high-intensity interval training. Classes have popped up across the country.
I am kind of wanting to go.
I find it annoying. I feel like this is like that mask for mask. Like, for what? For guys? Yoga's for guys? Like regular yoga isn't for guys? Why? Because you don't like Enya music?
I don't know. I don't know. It sounded, you reading it though, it sounded like a hot place to be.
I know, but it feels like that, like, oh, I don't want to do something like, hey, yoga seems kind of feminine, and so this is for dudes
So it feels
that are
like
dudes.
anti-women in a way?
And, or feminine gay men, or, it
It's
feels
sort
a
of
little,
like bro country, you know,
Yes.
that's going on. It feels like it's very anti-women. In the
I feel like the phrase guys is vomit-inducing. It's that mask for mask thing that, like, inherently puts down the idea that anything feminine is somehow secondary. Like, I'm sorry, you could probably play heavy metal music at your vinyasa
Okay,
yoga.
I'm not turned on by it anymore. Okay, I'm done.
Well, good.
Okay, moving on. Anti-gay warnings of wrath blog loses its domain. Now, I love this story so much. There's an anonymous Reddit user noticed that the web domain for the anti-gay group Warnings of Wrath, the blog had expired, and he bought it before the original owner could do anything about it. Then he redirected this to a gay porn site called scaryfuckers.com. This is awful. It just specializes in raw, breeding, bareback, hardcore XXX videos. So all these haters are just going to sign on to Warnings of Wrath, and they're going to be directed to some... I don't know that this does much for our cause, quite frankly, but it is a very strong statement. They condemn gays and rock music outside Carolina Rebellion. I bought the unexpectedly expired domain from their signs and pointed it to a gay porn of people who probably like rock music. Fair?
Seems fair to me.
So,
like,
anyway,
this may not advance
if nothing
our
else,
cause,
it's funny.
But yes, but sometimes you have to laugh through the tears.
Okay,
right?
I have to admit one thing very quickly. I heard a former person in my life was this very hateful towards and said some negative things about me being gay, and I did sign him up for international mail catalogs.
That's funny. I know. Well, it's like what I would do is sign people up for like every kind of Fox News thing that there is to find. All right, and finally, checking in with Crazy, and I gave it a special title today. This is Crazy Pastor Palooza, because we're going to do these real quick, but like pastors everywhere lost their damn minds this week. Kick it off.
This is Pastor E.A. Abeboye, is the head of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, an evangelical branch of Christianity with 5 million members around the world. It's based in Nigeria, and the 73-year-old pastor said on Facebook, "I went to a country and the press was waiting for me. Why? Because they said that they believe I hate homosexuals. I don't hate anyone, and you can do whatever you want to do." Then he warned that if a man marry man and woman marry woman, there would be no need to stop global warming because soon there won't be newborn children. He's just assuming everybody
gay. Everybody gay.
Once it's okay to marry man and woman
That's
woman,
all that
everybody's
we'll do.
just
Everybody gonna be gay.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. You
Oh.
are just ignorant.
He hadn't learned a lot in
Ignorance.
his 73 years.
My
All right, well,
God.
keeping on with Crazy Pastor Palooza, an Amarillo pastor filed a suit for being banned from a pride parade. David Grisham is the leader of Repent Amarillo, and basically, I'm going to boil this down for y'all. He wanted to stand in the middle of, like, the permit area that the pride parade people had, and the Fort Worth police said, "You can't stand there, sir. You have to stand over there on that corner. That's where your free speech zone. Your free speech doesn't go everywhere." And he said, "I don't like that." And they said, "Well, tough." And now he's suing them because he couldn't stand where he wanted to stand.
And finally, another crazy pastor. This one we know. His name's Pastor Stephen Anderson. He's of Arizona's Faithful Word Baptist. He's the guy that he said that we could have an AIDS-free Christmas by executing us all. It
didn't work.
It did not work. We're still here. And now he is pointing to, this is just an odd one to me. He says that all of these entrepreneurs, these conservative entrepreneurs, are being too nice to the LGBT community and are not standing for the Word of God. So he pointed to Sweet Cakes by Melissa. She's gotten a lot of bad press. And he said that he didn't feel sorry that the Kleins had been fined and shuttered their business because he believes that they are tools of the media to brainwash you and saying they attend a stupid liberal church. Melissa is not taking a stand against same-sex marriage at all. It's weak. It's worthless. She is part of what is destroying America. Who thinks it's a hard decision if some faggot wants you to make them a wedding cake? Anyone struggling with that right now? And then my favorite is that he said, now I have to say I do agree with him on this. He said about the Indiana's Memories pizza, he said, nobody asked them to cater a wedding with cheap, stupid pizza. He's right. We can agree on that one.
And it's true. I just love that his theory is that these people that are already like being crazy conservative are not crazy conservative enough. Bless his bigoted heart. And finally, Bill Koenig of World Watch Daily suggested that California's 4-year drought is just one example of how America is living in an uncharted time and a period of divine judgment from God. He said, "We've got a state that over and over again will go against the word of God, that will continually take positions on marriage and abortion and on a lot of things that are just completely opposed to the scriptures. Unfortunately, a lot of times when it starts in California, it spreads to the rest of the country and even spreads to the rest of the world. So there very likely could be a drought component to this judgment." Y'all, I just love it when they want to give the gays so much power. Like,
we are getting a
what
lot of
magical
power
powers
lately.
do we have to stop the drought?
So much. Pat Robertson is. We've caused hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. I mean, everything. It's because of us, John. That's how powerful we are.
It's like we are just Storm from the X-Men. All of us. Like, and why is it we can only control the weather? Like,
It's very
I would pick some other
weather-oriented.
things first.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, the rain, that's not super exciting to me to control. I'd like to be, what would you control? I would.
The Supreme Court verdict. That's what I would control.
I know. See, I would always choose mind control first. That's a lot easier. Or, like, flying.
Or wishes. I would just control
Wishing
that
for
you
more
get
wishes.
Wishes for more. All right, guys, that's our show. We've had such a silly, fun time with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to celebrate with our good friend Debbie Holiday, who's been a part of our lives for a long time in our work, and she just had her second top 10 this year. And her second number 5. She tied her own record. Dive is such an amazing anthem, and she has a new top 5 called Lift, and we're going to play you out with this. Congratulations, Debbie Holiday. We love you, and we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye now.
On the Del and Emerson Show. Tony Sweet is up next.
With joy.